welcome back. So we have this problem that when we press the button, the code cycles so fast that while we're holding the button down for even a split second, it's counting multiple button presses. So it's going to be really hard to control. What we want to do is we want to press the button no matter how long someone presses it, that when they let go of it, it counts just once. So one button press, one count. So to do that, we're going to have to do a little bit of creative coding. So find your if octave val button val equal high code. Inside there where it says octave val equals octave val plus 1, go above that line of code real quick. Now we're going to put in what's called a while loop. So a while loop will continue looping as long as the condition that we put inside that parenthesis is true. So inside the while loop, we're going to say, okay, so while the octave val button is high. So we're going to put that in this loop as well. So we press it, the Arduino notices, oh, the button's high now, and then it goes into this while loop and gets stuck. So let's go ahead and put in here, and then we do a open close curly brace. So whenever the button is high, it's going to, red is high by the if statement, and it's going to go into this while loop, and it's going to stay there as long as the button is high. Now the only problem with this, let me do one more thing. So as long as the button stays high, it'll stay in the while loop. As soon as the button is let go of, it'll leave the while loop. So this should solve our problem. It's not going to, and here's why. Inside this while loop, the Arduino's not doing anything. So it's not checking to see if the button is still high or not. So it's going to assume that it stayed high above from up here. So inside this while loop, we've got to have Arduino tell Arduino to go constantly check the button. So we're going to put this digital read right here, Control C, and we're going to put it in our, let's get the whole line of code actually, because we want to have the comment as well. So I'm going to highlight all of that. Boy, that highlights weirdly. Okay. So inside the while loop, we're checking to see if the button is red. I'm actually going to get rid of this extra on mine. If yours isn't breaking the two lines, leave it. I don't like that second line in there. So here's what happens. You press the button. The code says if octave val button high. So it actually up here, let's start up here. So it reads the button pin. It sees that you've pressed the button. It stores the word high or the number 1 in octave button val. It comes down here and says if octave val button is high, it is, so it enters the if statement. Then it gets trapped in this while loop. It says, well, while it's high, just keep checking the button over and over and over again. The moment the button's released, it's going to go to low, and this is going to leave the while loop, and it should just count once now. So I'm going to download this code real quick, and we'll see if this is actually working. So this should be counting it after I let it go. Now the bummer with using a while loop, that when your code is in the while loop, it can't do anything else except what's in the while loop. So it can't read other keys or do anything else. All right, so I'm uploaded now. I'm going to hit serial monitor. And we're still printing the octave val. So it should start out at 4. Okay, great. It's working. It's starting at 4. I'm going to press and hold the button. And you see what that does is it actually freezes the serial prints because the code is trapped in this while statement. I'm still holding the button down. As soon as I let it go, though, it'll leave the while and count 1 to octave val. Ooh, now we're at 5. If I press it again and hold it, the code stops while we're stuck in this while loop. We're constantly just reading whether the button is high or low. It's high, so it keeps looping, keeps looping. As soon as I let go, adds 1 to button val. So this is working. The only thing weird about it a little bit is that it counts when you leave, when you let go of the button, not when you press it. If you want to change that, it's a simple change in the code. You would just put this counting variable here above the while loop. Then it's going to count and then get stuck. So it'll count when you press the button, not when you release it. An interesting little tidbit, not important. It doesn't really matter when it counts it. All right, the only problem now is that we don't actually want to count up to 15. We want to go from 4 to 5 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 3. So we need a little more complicated code to go next. All right. So to do that piece, we're going to actually take away this octave val plus 1, because we don't want to just get bigger by 1. So when we leave here, what we're going to say is we're going to say if, we just got to build stuff for it. So octave, so the current octave we're on, if it is equal to 3, oops, equal is asking the question, right? So if octave, whoops, no, octave val, right? What are we saving it in? Yep, octave val. If octave val is equal 3. So we got to ask that question. What's it currently at? Is it 3? Curly brace, enter. If it's currently set to 3, we want to set the octave val to 4. So we're going to say octave val is equal to 4. So remember, this is happening after a button press. So if on the button press, the octave val is currently 3, we want to set it to 4. So that's the wrong spelling. That is totally wrong spelling. Hang on. I'm going to copy and paste that. Okay, so this sets the octave to 4. Awesome. Now we have the other option. Well, what if when we started out, the octave val was already 4? Well, we want it to be 5. So we're going to do an else if, because we're going to combine these into one big statement. Else if, and the else if you can put here at the end of the if, or if you like, you can put it below in line with the if. See how this if is with the else if? Either way is totally fine. And then now we're going to say, what if, else if octave val is equal to 4. So now we're doing this condition. Open curly brace, enter. It's already put the closing curly brace in. I'm going to add this one, except I'm just going to change octave val from 4 to 5, because now that's what we want. We want it to be 5. Now we need one more if statement, because it could be 3, it could be 4, or it could be 5. So here I'm going to do another else if. In fact, I'm just going to steal this one from right here, copy that one, hit enter here and hit paste. Really hard to keep track of all your open close curly braces. If you don't, your code is going to be a mess. So take your time, be careful where it is. Notice that this if, the closing of this if is here. So all this code inside here is only going to happen when I press the button, okay? Or if I press the button. All right, so this last one is if it's equal to 5, we don't want to actually make it 6. We want to go back around and make it 3. So we're going to cycle over again. So we're going to make it go back to 3, octave val 3. All right, let's check this out real quick, see if it's working. So I'm going to upload my code, and then once it's uploaded and my button over here turns dark green again, I'll be able to open my serial monitor. I heard my setup tone. That was light green, now it's dark green, so I'm ready to open my serial monitor up, and hopefully I'll be reading 4s. I think when you open the serial monitor, I think it resets the code. That's why I'm going to hear another beep to it. All right, so I've got 4s going. I'm going to press the button. That should shift it to 5s. Oh, it did. Mine's a little sluggish. Press it again. That should shift to 3. And press it one more time, should go to 4. Awesome. So I'm just going to press it a whole bunch of times, see if I can see the numbers cycle on the screen. 5, 4, 3, perfect. Everything's working great. Not sure why my serial monitor is so sluggish this morning. All right, so now we've got this working. So now we're correctly going, but we need to do more stuff in each of these. So if octave val is 3 and we switch it and now it's at 4, what do we want to do? Well, one thing we want to do is we want to turn lights on and off. So let's come up here. I'm actually come up here where I already have these, digital 3, 4, and 5. Let's figure out which ones we want on and off. So I'm going to copy those, put it right here, and I'm going to line them up. I can't tell you how important it is to keep your code lined up just to make it readable. So I'm going to line these. Notice how they're inside this if statement. So I've indented them over using the tab key so that they're even with octave val. So all of these are inside that if statement. And 3, 4, and 5. Well, if octave val is 4, then I want 4 high, and I actually want these other ones low. So now I'm creating a situation where I'm showing which octave it's set to. All right. And now it's just a matter of copying, pasting these, come down here into the 4 one. And this one now is, it was 4, and now the octave vowel is 5. So I want this one high and 4 low. So 3 high, 4 low, 5 high. And I'm going to come down here and paste those same, whoop, no I'm not. I'm going to copy and paste these same 3 right down here. Make sure everything's lined up perfectly. And then now this one is the octave vowel is currently to 3, so I actually want 3 to be there, and then that one to be low. Awesome, and maybe I go back and fix these. So this is off, off. Oh, I must have not copy and pasted the comment. I'm going to fix some of this stuff so it's correct. And then this will be 5 and off, off, on, off, off, on. All right, and 5. Okay, let's run it and find out. So now as we cycle through the buttons, we should cycle through our lights. When you run the test, make sure that all 3 of your LEDs turn on during the test phase. Awesome. So as I press my octave button, my LEDs are cycling through 3, 4, and 5. So that tells me everything is working great. Oh, these 3 over here. Let's check those. Oh, awesome. Everything's working fantastically. My 3 is a little snicky, so my LED doesn't always turn on. I've got to play with it a little bit. There it goes. Wonderful. All right. So that's the main setup. We haven't actually changed the keys. In the last video, we'll go through and figure out how to now make the keys go to a higher and lower pitch. Great job. Hang in there.